Many thanks for staying with us. It's still the conversation. Of course, it's the second segment, and you know how we do it here. We let you in into things happening here in Lagos. Now, on June 8th, the world unites to mark World Oceans Day, a day set aside by the United Nations to celebrate our life-sustaining oceans and to draw attention to the urgent need for their protection. With over 70% of the Earth's surface covered by oceans, their health is directly linked to the health of our planet. And for coastal cities like Lagos, World Oceans Day carries a deeper resonance. Lagos is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean and boasts an extensive coastline and vital waterfront communities. These areas are not only rich in biodiversity and economic potential, but also increasingly vulnerable to challenges like coastal erosion, flooding, and climate change induced sea level rise. From Ekpe to Badagry, Lagos waterfronts offer opportunities for tourism, commerce, housing, transportation, and recreation. Yet they also demand coordinated government efforts for sustainable development and environmental protection. Now, what is the Lagos state government doing to protect our coastline and unlock the value of our waterfront assets? With us on the show today is the Lagos State Commissioner for Waterfront and Infrastructure Development. No, I'll take that again. Lagos State Commissioner for Waterfront Infrastructure Development, Dayo Bush-Alebiosu. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now, how would you describe the role of the waterfront in Lagos' urban and economic future?
Well, it's been very, very interesting. Thank you for asking. We've had to work with different ministries and continue to work with different ministries such as environment, uh, agencies like the EGIS, um, Ministry of Agriculture. Um, we handshake Ministry of Tourism, Housing. We handshake everybody. We handshake almost everybody,
Mm.
and we're responsible for the siting and for the provision of waterfront infrastructure. It has been pretty interesting. We have done and continue to do all that is required, all that is necessary to make sure that we're where we want to be or where we ought to be. Um, we're saddled with several different responsibilities. Uh, we come up with jetties, we um, build jetties. Excuse me, we're responsible for reclamation, we're responsible for sand dealing in Lagos,
Mm.
um, uh, we're responsible for dredging, just to mention a few
Mm.
things. We also make sure that we keep our waters clean from water
Mm.
hyacinth and the other impurities
Mm.
without delving into
Mm.
the responsibilities of the Ministry of
Yes. Environment.
Environment.
Mm.
Sometimes there's a thin line between
Mm.
our ministry and the other ones,
But how do
but
you
we know
separate? How
as
do you separate this thin line sometimes?
as, as thin as they are also defined.
Oh,
So
okay.
I know what boundaries where my responsibility
Mm.
stops and where it starts. So it's been a very interesting one. We continue to do studies, carry out studies. We
Mm.
need to know what's going on, what to expect,
Mm.
because it's important to be rather to be reactive than to be proactive rather
Mm.
than just being reactive. Sometimes you have no choice but to be reactive, but we try as much as possible to be proactive.
Mm. Okay, let's talk about the positives now. You know, as I said earlier, Lagos has a vast, waterfront stretching from Badagry to Ekpe, and I mentioned earlier that tourism is one of the opportunities, for a sustainable development. What other opportunities abound for Lagos, considering our waterfront, our vast waterfront?
Well, there's transportation, there's tourism, there's housing. I mean, through reclamation, and like I've always said, there's nothing bad in reclamation in itself.
Mm.
It's illegal reclamation that is the issue. Indiscriminate, uncontrolled, and illegal reclamation.
Mm.
Um, we have to take a lot into consideration. What will be its effect on drainage? What would be its effect on the environment? Which is why we request for what you call the EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment.
Okay.
We request for the TIA as well. We
Mm.
also request for a sign off from the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban
Mm.
Development.
Mm.
These are the things that I insist
Mm.
that we get before we even approve or allow any kind of reclamation works.
Mm.
And of course, those who reclaim indiscriminately do not take those things into consideration, and that's why it's very important that we enforce those laws. Thank God that we have policies in place, we have laws in place, and we're definitely going to be imposing the maximum just to make sure that we keep our waterfront safe. When you go to, we don't even have to go outside of Africa. When you look at places like the Gambia, Cotonou, which is Benin Republic, and you look at Togo, you would see the relationship, how they relate with water. And that's why it's important to have a coastal zone management plan through which it allows you to understand how the locals around there interact with water and things like that. Remember, our waters is what sustains us. The lagoon on its own takes care of everything about our lives as regards food and so many other things. Excuse me. But we tend to abuse the lagoon. This is what we rely on for the purest type of water that they talk about, the borehole. Where does it come from? Of course, it's filtered through sand and all the necessary things, and naturally before it gets to our pipes.
Oh.
But this is the same water where we drain into. This is the same water where they dump things into. I've actually seen open defecation on a few cases in our waters. It's not healthy. We've seen a lot, and these are the things that we're trying to change. We continue to monitor our waters. Thank God for the X1. Also, thank God for Mr. Governor that we've gotten, as well as the State Assembly, we've gotten all necessary support so far, and we're making sure that we're able to effect, not because we want to be wicked, but we have to do what we have to do out of necessity. We have to keep the integrity of our waters intact, so to say.
Okay, I'm still talking on coastal erosion. There was a report one of our correspondents here did about the Akodo Ise, there is this community that is almost taken over by the ocean, and I'd like to know what your ministry is doing to mitigate such coastal erosion.
It's not just Akodo Ise. Lagos State has 187 kilometers of coastline, and we know that some parts of the states, we have some parts badly hit by erosion from the Atlantic. I mean, some of the places are affected. Itoke Village, Idotun Village, Akodo Ise, Origonigon, Okunde, Okwanj, just to mention a few of them.
A few of them, yeah.
And we are where we've been there. We just actually came back from the Netherlands, where we went to not just study, but also engage on we know that they're the best in the world when it comes to issues with water. And when you're determined to achieve results, who best or who better to look to than those who've been there and who've done it. We're all able to see firsthand how they interact with water, how they coexist with water.
Okay.
It's kind of different. We let water be, and we go on our own separate path. But there, they actually embrace it, that's where we're getting to gradually.
Okay.
And of course, we've been speaking with a company called CDR. They know everything about our waters. They've been there. They've carried out tests. They're going to be carrying out more tests. It's like somebody going to the doctor. Of course, you have to be looked at first before they say this is the issue. Meaning you must know what to do before you do your best at it, and that's what we've been engaging with them on. Um, we're just waiting for the next stage now,
Okay.
so that we're able to resolve all of those issues as quickly as we can.
Okay. I like the fact that you just talked about engagement. So we're talking about engagement now with the community people. So,
Yeah.
so how is your ministry now involving local communities, that is traditional rulers, environmental experts, and the private sector in planning and execution of waterfront projects? So we don't have issues of, oh, we didn't know, they didn't consult with us.
Oh no, we've been in touch with everybody. Hence why we're waiting for the next step, the next stage with CDR,
Mm,
since they are familiar with our territorial
mm,
waters.
mm.
Also, we continue to engage. We're going to be having a summit soon. We take every possible opportunity to engage people, whether on or offline, and in several cases in person as well. Some of those problems are what we want to look at the summit coming
Summit.
up
Okay.
very soon.
Mm,
If it approved, we would inform
mm,
off and on the
mm.
date. It's basically to touch on every problem
Mm-hmm.
and how we intend on tackling it.
Okay.
Remember, this isn't what government can do by
By
herself.
themselves. Yeah.
Government has to continue to engage
Mm,
with the people, with the locals, the residents, to make sure that it's where it's supposed to
mm.
be. And it's only where things are where they're supposed to be that it would even boost tourism beyond where it already is right now. Remember, we're the ones saddled with providing the infrastructure upon which tourism stands.
Okay.
So we continue to engage them, the various agencies.
Mm.
We know where it stops. You remember earlier, and I had mentioned sometimes there's a thin line between
Between
our duties and our
duties, yes.
functions.
Okay.
But we always recognize that thin line and
Mm.
make sure that we stay within our boundaries and our responsibilities in order to achieve uh, the best possible results.
Okay. Your ministry, Waterfront Infrastructure Development. So let's look at infrastructure development now. Does your ministry now balance, considering the fact that there is a daily influx of people into Lagos, and Lagos is also rapidly urbanizing? How do you now balance, infrastructure development and, of course, preserving, you know, our natural endowments, such as the coastline?
Well, that's why I've insisted that before we even situate certain
Mm,
projects, we need to do some extensive studies there. How does it blend in? Does it go against against even the culture of that area?
mm,
Hence, why I'd said that we even we're waiting on a report at the moment, which is our coastal zone management
mm-hmm,
plan.
mm,
It helps us understand everything about
mm,
the waters, about the those who reside along the
mm,
coast and things
mm,
like that.
mm.
It helps to reveal what should be and shouldn't be around there.
Around there. Mm,
Sometimes it's best to leave things the way they are when you want to encourage tourism, rather than going into some place
mm-hmm.
that's rural and finding its rurality, and suddenly you want to urbanize it. It would be like using a different operating system, using an iOS on an Android phone.
Mm,
So it's important that we understand it, so that that way we're able to put in place the right solution to
mm,
to the problems.
mm. Okay, land dredging, you mentioned it earlier, because it remains a challenge here in Lagos. And what else is the ministry doing to also mitigate land dredging? I want you to talk more extensively. Has there been any development since the last time you were here?
Well, they say there's no smoke without fire. Um, and the first thing we did was to sit down and say, okay, we want to curb illegal dredging.
Can
How
you
do
be
we go about it?
okay? You want to
And
curb it,
and
not
we,
eradicate it? It cannot be
no,
eradicated.
there's nothing wrong in dredging or in reclamation. We need
Mm,
dredging to survive. I
mm.
mean, we have to, the houses where we live, the building where you are. We need sand, our
So,
bridges,
yeah.
our infrastructure, our roads. We need sand. And there's no way we can do those things without dredging and sand dealing.
Okay.
But dredging is done for two purposes.
Okay.
First, on one hand, to reclaim land, on the other hand, to stockpile.
Okay.
So we're putting policies in place that will make sure that that will see to curbing, see to an end in 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 this area. Um, you know, crime cannot be eradicated completely,
Completely.
but we
Yeah.
can bring
Yeah.
it to the barest
Minimum.
minimum, and that's why it's important to make sure that you prosecute where where you find
Necessary.
people
Yeah.
wanting. So that, and of course, we've had a series of engagements with the dredgers, even the transporter. Basically, all that is encapsulated under the definition of sand dealing. Um, it's important to even trace where the sand is coming from. Where did you purchase? Where did you get your sand, and things like that, so you can know whether it's as a result of illegal dredging or actual dredging. Of course, if you go after the demand, sometimes supply goes away.
Okay.
So
So,
we're putting in everything in place, relationships we're working on, and to make sure that people desist from, it's said that the law may not change the hearts of men, but it will certainly change the habits of men.
okay.
So we just need to do what we have to do to get the required results. And so far, I'm grateful to God, I'm grateful to the people, I'm grateful to the members of staff. We've been able to resolve as high as about 95% of the problems we met on ground when I got to the Ministry of Waterfront. So I'm really happy about that,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know.
Okay, thank you. At the last ministerial briefing, of course, you talked about the Okwaja land disputes, which was a major concern for residents. I'd like you to highlight and give us, what the ministry has done to resolve this particular issue.
Well, we were able to resolve things amicably without any brouhaha. And of course, we sat down, we looked at what the problems were, we went to the root of the problems, we came up with solutions, and quite a good number of people, I think almost half of those people, um, have had the process either through accommodation or even having their papers resolved.
Resolved, okay.
Most of them have, those who have approached the ministry, and they've actually come up in large numbers. We've been able to resolve those issues. Some of them already have their surveys, and they also have their proper allocation letters, you know.
Okay.
So
So it has been
things are going well, no rancor, no issues. Things are going well. We're getting results,
okay.
you know.
Okay.
The
Then.
battle was like it was won. Nature won the battle before it even got started.
Oh, okay. So from land disputes, we move to water transportation, and which you also highlighted the water transportation and the jetties. Can you hear that? Okay. You also
Yes,
mentioned that. Okay. You also mentioned water transportation and of course the jetties, and also when you came here, can you avail us to the recent development about this jetties?
oh yes. Of course, to boost water transportation, you're going to have to provide jetties. Jetties are basically bus stops on water. And there's no way we can talk about water transportation or even land transportation without stops, bus stops, or terminals. we continue to provide this where actually this year we started to move away from the old designs and we started to implement
Okay.
the new ones, the concrete floating pontoons and things like that. They guarantee a longer lifespan and they're said to be way safer. So we continue to move from where we were to where we are now and where we want to be. Um, Quite a number of people who are now doing water transport. And of course, though we're not in charge of the running of that, but we're in charge of providing for the infrastructure
Okay.
for water
Water
transport.
transportation.
And
Okay.
of course, you see, a few months ago, um, the governor went to commission the acquisition of some boats. Also, you also have what you have the Omieko project in place and things like that. So Lagos State is really serious about water transport. With the kind of population we have, we can't be reliant on just one or two modes of transportation.
Transportation.
It
Yeah.
continues to expand. We've seen the blue rail, the red rail. We continue to see all the works going on, and of course, we're also sorting the infrastructure as regards water transport as well.
Okay, you also highlighted the coastal road during the ministerial briefing. You know, what will that coastal, what does it even mean for Lagosians?
Well, usually when that kind of infrastructure, though it has nothing to do with my ministry, but except for the fact that it runs through some of our schemes and some waterfront schemes. Outside of that, the purpose, what you need to look at is what is the reason for the coastal road. Of course, it's going to boost trade, it's going to boost tourism, and a lot more. Easy access, easy transportation, and things like that. So it's a definite good news for all the states it runs or will run across.
Okay.
It's actually a thumbs up to it's a project that deserves a thumbs up.
So, so any projects from the ministry that's in the pipeline that you'd like to talk about?
Well, yes, we continue to, like I said, we're proactive, and in some cases, we have no choice but to be reactive. Since you can't tell the future, you can only guess it in some instances.
Okay.
Um, and basically, um, we have quite a number of projects. The first thing we did was to make sure that all the inherited liabilities that I was able to clear all that so that we can focus on new ones. But we have a few projects coming up in Oroshoki, Alaya, um, White Sand, Ikorodu, where we're changing the pontoons and things like that. Off the top of my head, I don't have all of them, but just to mention a few that I just mentioned to you. So we continue to have those works. We're in partnership with some proponents as regards reclamation. The states, we have islands like Orange Island, we have Gracefield Island, but we have a few, that are joint. But we have Ostia. There are quite a number of them out there, and what will gladden my heart the most is to make sure that we're able to deliver on what was promised to the populace before the end
And all.
of this tenure. And when you look at how it's going, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm happy with the rate at which work's going there on those islands.
Okay, we're all looking forward to it. Just before we go, what is your long-term vision for Lagos waterfront? And of course, what legacy would you like to leave behind as commissioner?
Well, legacy. First of all, I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity. How many millions? Over 200 million people to have been chosen. I mean, to have had the opportunity to serve and the opportunity to actually, make the people happy. Definitely, I'd want to look back and say, yes, I'm grateful to God. I'd like to see. I pray we're able to achieve it. I'd like to see our simulated beaches waterfronts. I'd like to see certain areas like the Waliola Tedges, see a boardwalk, you know, see them redesigned and where it's beautiful. You're able to take a photo on it, and they're not sure where's this, except for when you see the character
Okay.
of the place, then you're able to identify and say, yes, that's Lagos. Those are the beautiful waters of Lagos. That's definitely what I'd like to see happen. I'd like to see the integrity. I'd like to leave behind the same integrity given to the waters of Gambia here in Lagos.
A question just came in, and this viewer is asking, is it true Lagos is underwater?
Well, we continue to hear those things, but I haven't seen anybody, to be honest. I haven't really seen anybody come up with proof to say Lagos is underwater. Yes, like other places, you have some cities that are below sea level, if that's what they're referring to. Well, we've seen so many exist well. There's a saying in Yoruba that goes thus: the storms would always come, but we just have to put things in place to make sure that we remain standing at the end of the day. So I don't think they should bother themselves with that. Are we below sea level? Yes. Are we underwater?
No. Thank you very much. It's clear that right now that waterfronts of Lagos are more than just a shoreline. They represent opportunities, challenges, and of course untapped potential for economic growth. Thank you very much, Dayo Bush-Alebiosu, Commissioner for Waterfront Infrastructural Development, Lagos State. And we've been talking generally about what the ministry, or what the mandate of the ministry is, and what the ministry is also doing. Thank you very much for joining us on the conversation.
Thank you for having me.
We'll go on a short break. When we come back, the conversation continues.
Sleeping under the bridge in Obalende. I was living with an uncle, but later I was asked to leave the house, so I have to just start living under the bridge in Obalende. It was then fun. We were many under the bridge, working as a security guy. In the morning, we take our bait and then we go. And come back again late at night, 11, 12 a.m. to sleep under the bridge. Sometimes people come in there to harass us, taking our phones, our wallets, and the little money that we have on us are stolen many times. It has happened. But today, we thank God for where God has brought us. It's a wonderful experience. Lagos is a nice place to be. I'm happy to be here.
the name of that cap. Ashiwaju, let me say Ashiwaju.
It's a signal that whoever wear that white cap chief is a highly placed high chief.
I think that's the cap of chieftaincy. Yeah, that's the chieftaincy cap.
The white cap, do I know? Is it your cap?
I know it's meant for the chief in Lagos State. Keremesi, yeah.
Let the conversation continue.